function. F of x is equal with x squared minus 1 and g of x is equal with absolute value of x plus 1. Find the composition function f of g of x. But before I go there, first of all, let me rewrite those function. Let me rewrite the function f of x. So f of x is equal with x squared minus 1. And the g of x is equal with the absolute value of x plus 1. What I want to find here, I want to find the composition function f of g of x. And to find f of g of x, first of all, let me write the composition function f of g of x with this denotation is equal. Instead of the x squared, let me make here parentheses in a square, but instead of the x, I am plugging here the g of x, which happens to be the absolute value of x plus 1. And here is a minus 1. This minus 1, I'm writing here minus 1. And now I have, because this is with absolute value, I have two cases. I have the case, so let's say case 1. For x is greater or equal to 0, absolute value of the x is going to be equal with the x. And f of a g of x is going to be equal with x plus 1. So instead of the absolute value of x, I'm plugging in x in this case. Square minus 1. And what's happened here, if I'm squaring this x plus 1, is going to be x squared plus 2x plus 1. And this minus 1 is outside, minus 1. So those two I'm going to cancel. And everything is going to be equal to the x squared plus 2x. So f of g of x is going to be equal to x squared plus 2x for the case x is greater than or equal to 0. And the second case, so the second case, case 2, I have for x less than 0. The absolute of x is going to be equal with a minus x. Now, f of g of x is going to be equal with a minus x. Now, instead of the absolute value of the x here, I'm going to plug in minus x. Plus 1 square is a minus 1. What's going to happen here? F of g of x is going to be equal, if I am squaring, is x squared minus 2x plus 1, and this minus 1 is outside. This is going to cancel, and everything is going to be equal with x squared minus 2x. So that's what I get here. But now, what I'm going to do here, I want this function f of g of x to find as a piecewise well-defined function. If I want to write, I'm going to write this way: f of g of x. So let me erase this one here. So let me erase this here. Okay. So f of g of x is going to be, so I'm writing as a piecewise function, well-defined piecewise function. And first of all, I'm taking this part here, x squared plus 2x, for x greater or equal to 0. And this is going to be x squared plus 2x. And this is when x is greater or equal to 0. And now I'm taking the second case, when, so this case here, so this function here, f of x is x squared minus 2x, x squared minus 2x, when x is less than 0. And now we wrote this composition function in terms of the piecewise well-defined function.